Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Eating While Broke. I'm your host, Coline Witt, and today we have very special guest actor Omar Gooding in the building. I'm very excited to have you.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
I'm not as excited about the dish you're going to make me eat.
Copy that. Copy that.
Traditionally, I ban ramen across the board unless you're doing something crazy with it.
Right.
But go ahead. You could tell our listeners what you're going to have me eating today.
Yeah. No. I mean, it's funny because we were talking about the old-fashioned cup of noodles, how it's in a styrofoam cup, and we weren't even supposed to put that in the microwave, as they say now. But we didn't care back in the day. You know, back in I used to call it my college years when I had a lot of roommates. I never went to college. But you know, because I was an actor since I was 9 years old. So when I was like in my 20s, I just did a movie called Baby Boy. So I had a lot of roommates. You know, house full of fellas. And I remember I was eating cup of noodles one day, and my guy was like, "Yo, man, you don't put the egg in the noodles?" And I was like, "What you talking about, bro?" He said, "Yeah, man, the cup of noodles, all you do is you crack an egg right over the top of the cup of noodles after you pour the water in, but don't pull the water all the way up to where that line is. Just pour it up to the top of the noodles, right when you can see the water. You crack a raw egg, set it right on top, throw that bad boy in there for 3 minutes, and watch it cook." Now, we did this before we got on air, so I remember you were looking at me like, "Oh, hell no, is it going to be runny? Is it going to be cooked?"
Bro, I was watching you like a kid that has never seen this project. I literally was like, Omar, like, you're going to have to come over and do this because I'm going to mess this up. But I watched you do this, and I'm terrified.
Yeah. You'll be all right. Have we taken a look inside?
So
did you peek?
We did it. Omar did it. He taught me how to put an egg in a cup of noodles.
Look at that. This one? Get him on out of here. I don't know if we.
Okay, now this egg, my biggest concern, and I was kind of annoying you with this, was what the texture of this egg is.
Well, the egg cooked, but look at that. Now it's got
but no, mine is a little runny.
Now, if it's a little runny, you just dip it into that hot water, and then you just stir it up, and it'll cook. It'll all cook.
Oh yeah, this looks.
See, the more you stir it up, the more it'll cook. Now, the key ingredient, because you really got to let it sit. I think did we let it sit long enough? Yes.
Well, yours sat longer.
Mine sat a little bit longer. But yeah, I usually, once you take it out of the microwave, you got to start chopping it up and stirring it, making that thing happen.
Okay, so it's supposed to be thoroughly mixed in there.
Oh, yeah. You don't just like eat the raw egg off the top of the thing. Like, what is that? No. You have to make sure that the egg
after you learn this,
the noodle.
Do you make all your eggs with a microwave now?
Not a chance. No. This is just this was the back in the day thing.
Okay.
You know, when we was lazy, we wasn't chefing it up, and, you know, and having women cook for us, and then figuring out how to do it ourselves and so forth and so on. We was like, okay, look, we need to eat. We're gonna be drinking tonight. Grab me that cup of noodles. You know what I'm saying? Get you an egg, set it on top, and then the key ingredient is the hot to the sizzles. You gotta have hot to the sizzles.
You're originally from LA?
I'm from LA, yes, born and raised. My parents were born in Harlem. But so you ain't even gonna do that? Ooh, oh, you really risking it then? Because hot sauce is the only reason I said yes to this. If you can't do hot sauce.
Well, that's why I said you're from LA, because I feel like LA is all about the hot sauce.
It's all about the hot to the sizzles. Yeah, you can't.
I put a drop in there.
A drop? Okay, all right. Don't drop the noodles and egg when you get there. All right.
All right, here we go.
Here we go. Break the diet on 3.
And you don't pour it in the He's on a diet, guys.
Yeah, that's you do the intermittent fasting. You know, that's how it is nowadays. You got to stay right. You never know what that phone call gonna be for that next project.
All right.
Shirt off. Wait a minute. I've been eating a cup of noodles for the last week. Now you can do that. You want to bougie it up? Put it in there.
Oh yeah, we can make it fancy.
Let's make it fancy, huh?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Gourmet egg and noodle.
Gourmet egg and noodle. It was a cup of noodle. Now it's bowl of noodle.
Okay.
And then, you mix it up a little bit, depending on how many noodles you want.
I'm trying to try it with the egg piece on there.
Yeah, you got to get a little piece, get adventurous.
Here we go. I'm going to try it.
I'm going to watch you when you try it. You just kept a straight face? Okay, we don't know if she's wincing because it's hot or if she's horrified. Look at the face. You ain't got no chaser around? Oh, you see you got the Yoo-hoo just in case? Go and get you some Yoo-hoo if you can't do it. I haven't done this in about 10 years, so I'm a little nervous myself. Let me try it.
Ugh.
Oh yeah, that's what I remember. So you didn't put enough hot sauce on it.
I was sucking on a cough drop before.
Oh, you just trying to sabotage my whole meal?
I do it because all our listeners complain if I have a little bit of a cough. They're like, "Oh, she has a cough."
Oh, I see.
But
we're close to that pandemic still, so it's.
I'm gonna be honest. Yeah, the egg is not.
It's not doing it for you. You're not an egg person, huh?
It not in my noodles. Let me try.
Oh man, this is taking me back. I'm about to call the homies up and start a dice game. So look, man.
Bro, this is a terrible way to come off a diet.
Yeah, no, this is right. This is shocking it here. I'm about to jog home. I ain't even gonna drive.
You're hilarious.
But this is it. Let me get one more.
Okay, so yeah, your dish. I would probably never do this in my free time again. So
okay. Well, this called eating while broke, and I hope
I'm not hating, but I'm hating. No, I mean
you can afford a little bit more than the noodle.
Yeah.
But see the color and the texture of mine. The more you mix it, the better it gets.
You know what it is?
See how yours looks just bland, just look like regular little noodles without no hot sauce.
But it has like an egg flavor to it.
Because you just took a straight bite of the egg, right into the egg. I don't know why you bit the egg like that.
All right, here.
It's all mixed together. Like you have fried rice. Do you fish out the egg, or you don't really eat fried rice?
I love fried rice.
With fried rice, and you tell them don't put the egg in there.
I think it's just me mentally knowing that the egg was a little runny is messing with my brain.
Yeah. See, but the more you mix that joint up, so you got to constantly have your hands moving at all times, because the hand moving keeps mixing the flavor, because there's flavor in there that you have to get to. See that? See how mine look?
Yeah, like you can barely see your egg.
You can't see the egg. It's got, it's in there in the broth. See, your broth looks a little pale too. I don't know why your broth looks so pale, but let's see my broth. Look at that thick broth.
That's because you have hot sauce.
Get your hot sauce in there. That is the point of the message. Hot to the sizzles is the bizzles.
Hot to the sizzle.
You understand me?
Take me back to what was going on in your life during this time when you were eating.
Yeah, so this time, it's like it's bachelor life. It's bachelor life. It's quick meals and push-ups and you in your 20s, so you ain't got to worry about your weight. You don't do none of this in your 40s with two young kids. This is 2 bites, and that's about it. I can feel my stomach saying, "What are we doing?" already. I can feel it saying, "What are we doing?" So I think I've eaten enough for the program.
Yeah.
But it was about 20 years ago. Mm-hmm. 20 years ago. Like I said, I was explaining to you now how my wife makes noodles when we say, hey, let's have some noodles. The way she does it is we take the ramen, we take 2 packets. And two packets of noodles. Mm-hmm. You take the spices out of each one. So you have 2 packets, 1 cup of noodles, throw it in there, boil the water, put the noodles in. It's funny, I made this the other day. It's crazy you say this. And then while it's cooking, you only cook it for 2 minutes. Mm-hmm. Same thing like is in here. Then you crack the egg, throw it right on top, and then you just keep stirring it. And the egg cooks right there in the broth. But it's in that chili broth. So I don't have to add hot sauce to it because the chili flavor packets.
And that's why you were particular about the chili.
Yeah, it's the chili, not just any old ramen. No, the chili, that's the only one we use. We use 2 chili packets. And that's oh my goodness, that's it doesn't it tastes way better than this. The egg is more cooked. You're right. It doesn't look like the white. You don't see the white fleshy parts of it. It looks more like a scrambled egg.
I think when Tim Chantarangsu taped with us, I want to say he put egg in it, but he put peanut butter in it.
Damn. What was his name again?
It was Tim Chantarangsu.
God bless you.
And the one thing that I did like about his was that he chose the Thai flavored ramen, which I never knew they had.
I've never heard of Thai flavor.
And he put corn and onion in it. And let me tell you something. I went home and tried to remake it a couple times.
Well, that's good.
And I never thought
sounds
peanut
sophisticated.
butter.
He was eating that broke?
Yeah, but it was like
broke,
a Thai ramen. They got different flavored
10
ramens. I never noticed that. But it literally changed the game. Peanut butter. I was like, peanut butter in it.
I won't even pretend to act like I'm going to try that shit. I don't really like peanut butter that much, for one. And my kid has a slight allergy to it, so I think that's probably just in my brain now. Reese's maybe, but then Halloween tried to mess up Reese's. You heard about all that with the Reese's cups? And
no.
They found the... All right, well, I ain't going to ruin Halloween.
No, say
it. It was... It was recalling all type of candy, finding stuff in it, poison and little bugs and shit like that. And, oh, yeah, they said the Reese's. Well, it's too late now. Whenever you're watching this, hopefully you ain't still eating that candy from Halloween. Throw it out. Because it gets worse. Mm-hmm.
So in your 20s, you're with all these roommates, but you were acting.
Yes, ma'am.
But you didn't have a day job?
No. What? What do you mean? A day job with acting? No,
yeah.
That's not a successful actor. I've been working since I was 9.
Yeah.
So, when you get paid, you ain't have to do shit during the day. You sleep in. You know what I mean? Okay. Acting pays well enough to where you can eat noodles and go to Vegas and then be back to work on Monday. You know what I'm saying?
But at the time, you said you had roommates.
Yes, I did have roommates, but they some of them were broke.
Oh, so you were like the wealthy roommate.
Yeah, exactly. It was just come live with me. I got it. The house is big enough. There's plenty of rooms. I don't need all these extra rooms. We had animals, pets, and women walking in and out of the doors every 5 minutes. It was single fun life. That's what I said. It felt like my college years.
Okay,
but I was paying all the bills.
But you were paying all the bills.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Well, kind of tell me your story, starting from, I guess, we'll take it all the way back to when you're 9.
Yeah, so when I was 9 years old, then when we were actually broke, that was, because actually my story starts back a little further. So my father was a singer with a group called The Main Ingredient. He sang hits like Everybody Plays the Fool, Just Don't Want to Be Alone. You heard of Everybody Plays the Fool? Yeah. So that was my father, and my mother was also a singer, and they were from Harlem, raised in the Bronx. And they had 2 kids, my oldest sister, and then my brother, Cuba Gooding Jr., 1 year apart to the day, so they shared a birthday. Then they moved to L.A. I was born 5 years later, and that makes my brother and I, our gap is 9 years, right? My sister, 10 years. And then a funny thing happened. Well, not that funny. My father went to Africa during apartheid, and it was a big no-no for the acts in the U.S. to perform out there for them. They were telling them, don't go out there, don't support this and that and whatnot. My father was like, shit, I'm going to go wherever I want. So when he came back, he got blacklisted. They pulled his records off he pulled his records down. He had to pretty much start over from scratch. So be it that we were in Los Angeles, he went on the road, touring, and basically he's from New York. He basically was in New York for most of the time. We would see him when we would see him, type of thing. So I wouldn't really see my father a whole lot growing up. And
but they were still together, your parents.
They were still together. They actually did divorce when I was around 12 years old, and then they remarried when I was 18 years old.
Are they still together now?
My father's deceased. So, but they did remarry. Like I said, they remarried and they were together until he passed. But yeah, so that time in between, my brother had an idea. He said, I want to become an actor. So we actually lost the houses that we were in and moved back in with my mother's parents, my grandparents that lived in Victorville. So we stayed with them for a couple of years until my grandfather said, nah, you got to find a way. All right. So we loaded up in a Bobcat station wagon, the 4 of us and a Great Dane. You ever seen a Great Dane?
Yeah, they're
about
huge.
The size of you.
Yeah,
yes, exactly. So we had one of them in the car with us, and we set out on the road, and we traveled from the high desert through Orange County and finally settled in Toluca Lake, California, where we had our first apartment. And that's when it got a little better. My brother kept booking small stuff and whatnot. And then when I was 9 years old, I actually went in to pick up a script for him from his agent. She saw me and said, wow, you speak very clearly for a 9-year-old, and you got a nice bright smile, no braces. Let me send you out on some auditions and see how you do. I begged my mom. She said, all right, fine, we can try it. Why not? What's to lose? And I went out on 2 auditions in my first try, and I booked the second one.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was for McGruff the Crime Dog. It was an industrial film that gets played in the schools, right? So I kind of stayed at it. I booked a movie called Ghost Dad about a year later, starring Bill Cosby. I was on a show called Webster, which was like my first speaking role prior to the Cosby. And then when I turned 12 years old, I landed a regular series role on a show called Wild and Crazy Kids for Nickelodeon. And at that time, my mother was able to quit her job and become my manager. Okay. So at the same time, my brother's still doing his thing, and he's getting parts like Saint Elsewhere and 227, and he's doing his thing.
Did this bring your guys' relationship really close because you were both in acting, you and your brother?
No, not at all. And I say it like that kind of to be funny, but that's the thing. A lot of people that realize that we're actors say, wow, I didn't, when they realize that we're brothers, say, man, I didn't know you guys were brothers. It's not that we're not close, but it's really more like a father-son relationship as far as the gap. That 9 years, that's like, it's 10 years, a whole decade. Yeah, you know what I mean? He's breakdancing and I'm rapping. Like it's just 2 different almost cultures in a way, you know. But his friends weren't my friends. Yeah. You know what I mean? It was more like, go get your own friends. You know what I mean? The big brother type of thing. And he was real, so it's like when he left the house at 18, he moved out and to pursue his career. Now I'm just 10 years old, 11 years old. And I'm like the man of the house because my father's out on the road, so he's never there type of thing. So I just kind of grew into my own at a young age.
But when you're booking these young acting roles, didn't they have the things where like when you're young, your money gets put in a trust?
Absolutely.
So how was your mom able to quit her job and manage you if your money was in a trust?
Not all of it, just half.
Oh, only half.
Yeah, they don't put the entire money in there. You gotta live off something.
Okay.
So it paid well enough. That's how good acting pays. You know what I mean? So it half of it I wasn't able to touch until I was 18. The first half I was able to have bills in my name. At 11. You know what I mean? So it was it was a fun life. And it just went nonstop for me. So when I booked this series, Wild and Crazy Kids, it ran for 3 years. Right when it ended, now I'm around 15 years old, I booked a show called Hanging with Mr. Cooper that was on Channel 7. That ran for 5 years, took me through high school. And then right when that ended, I booked a series called called Smart Guy. Smart Guy ran for another 3 years. Now I'm 24 years old.
Yeah.
Right? So it's, you didn't go to college. And well, in high school, I was like, well, I got a full-time job. You know what I mean? It pays well. I'm good. You know what I mean? So then when I was 24, I got a call from the late, great John Singleton, who called my mother because she was my manager. And he specifically told her, I made one of your sons a movie star. I'd like to make your other son a movie star as well. I have this script called Baby Boy that I want you to read. And then I read that, and it blew my mind because, my friends at the time, which are still my close friends that I kick it with still, we stay in touch as much as we can, were real cats, you know what I mean? And I say that, like, people say, oh, you grew up in the industry, so did you hang out? Do you know this, and do you know this person? Do you know that person? I'm like, not really. I work with them, and then that's that. But I don't want them to have my back and we're out in the streets. Yeah. I don't know if Leonardo DiCaprio can fight. Like, I don't want to find out if he got hands or not. I got real cats behind me that, you know what I mean, that I'm rolling with. So when I read the script for Baby Boy, it touched home because it wasn't my personality, obviously, but I was able to draw from people that I grew up with. You know what I mean? Yeah. For that role. I had some similar experiences, believe it or not, just being out and God was good. I escaped, a few situations. I used to carry guns. I got caught with that one time and it almost cost me my whole career. Wow. I had one day where they said, it was like 24 hours of hell. It was like hanging with Cooper Star, hanging in jail. And then I had to go, show up at Warner Brothers Studios and apologize to everybody. And thank God through the tutelage of Mark Curry, who suggested that over the weekend, he called me and said, yeah, I heard about what's going on with you. I think you should, first day when you show up, you need to show these people that that's not you. You need to apologize, bend a knee and, really, really let them know how sincere you are. And I did that, and it really saved me. It really did, and I appreciate him forever for that, the little bit of knowledge. Because if he didn't call me and tell me, I probably just showed up at work and just tried to do my job, and then all of a sudden I'd probably got a phone call saying you ain't got to show up no more. Yeah. But yeah, man. So it's been nonstop for me, and God has been good. I've had a long career, especially in television. I finished a series called Family Time. We did 91 episodes of that for Bounce Network. I just signed a deal with Disney. I got a show called Saturdays that's on Disney Plus right now. We did one season of that, and then that strike hit. So I don't know about a season 2, but the season 1 is still going. Season 1 is still airing on Disney Plus. You can live stream that, and that's a cool show, man, because it's about the roller skating culture in Chicago. So I had to learn how to roller skate. I was out in Chicago for about 6 months in the summer, so I didn't freeze my butt off.
Chicago in the summer is amazing.
Yeah, no, it was amazing. It was real. Chicago's a real town. It's a real town. Yeah. I mean, it's everything that they tell you about, from the pizza, the food, the culture, the people, the danger. I literally came out of my apartment one day and walked to the store, and everything was roped off, and the cop said, oh, man, you look familiar, man. You out here doing a movie? I said, yeah. So what's going on over here? He's like, oh, somebody just jumped off the building. Yeah, they died. But listen, can I get an autograph? Like, he completely desensitized. Like, he didn't bother him. I was just like, I'm getting the fuck back inside. But it was, it was a beautiful town other than that, and it was fun. And then, during the pandemic, I kind of spun into stand-up comedy, which is interesting because I've always been funny and I've always done sitcoms. So I hosted a room before the pandemic actually hit in Hollywood. And it started off as, why don't you just put your name on this comedy show and we'll do the rest? So it's Omar Gooding presents such and such.
And you're just hosting.
I'm not even hosting. I'm just presenting. So I would just show up at the beginning, welcome everybody, crack a few like, hey, how's it going? Oh, look at this dude over here. Thanks for coming. All right, here comes your host. And then I just sit back and collect the check. Wow. You know what I mean? Okay. So that just evolved. Because once you put a mic in front of me, I can't just, do nothing. Okay. You know what I mean? I remember one time before that happened. Actually, I think it was while I was doing that show. A guy said, hey, man, why don't you come down to my comedy show? I said, sure. And he said, I'll send a limo for you. I said, all right, fine. He sends a limo. It's out in Redlands, so it's a long drive. And, he's got champagne and liquor in the limo. So, I'm drinking and whatnot. And we get there and we're watching the show. And the show's great. And I'm like, oh, man, it's a good show. And then the owner comes over and says, you mind getting on stage and maybe just saying hi to everybody? Just let them know you're here? I was like, a little weird. I don't think I've ever seen that in the middle of a comedy show, but sure, I don't care. So we're watching, another maybe 15, 20 minutes goes by. And then I hear the host say, coming to the stage, I got a very, very, very funny comedian. You guys are going to love him. Oh, he is just outstanding. You've seen him. He just happened to be in the building, so he's going to come up here and give y'all a little taste. Man, he's really, really funny. Are y'all ready for that? And I start looking around like, man, I can't wait to see who this is. I like surprises, He's like, I've seen him in Hang with Mr. Cooper. You've seen him in Smart Guy. You've seen him in Baby Boy. I was like, I must know him. He's been in half the stuff I've been in. Who is this dude? He's been a call on stage.
Was your wife with you? Was she looking at you like it's about to be you, brother?
No, this was before that. Before I even got married. That's how long ago it was, and it was funny. And then he called me up, and when I got on stage, it was a ham. So I just started talking about stuff. The light was bright. I was like, damn, it's bright up here. What is this, an interrogation? People start laughing, and then I got on a roll, and I'm feeling good, and they kept laughing, and then I hit that wall because I said, man, I'm surprised y'all are laughing with all these hicks in here. I didn't think nobody be laughing. And it looked like. And it got quiet like that, and I was like, anybody see Baby Boy? And it's like, yeah. So they started cheering. I jumped off stage.
Okay. So, nice save. You know what I mean?
So everyone's like, why'd you get off? I was like, that's not what I do. I just tried it. But now it's evolved. When I do stand up, or when I do regular comedy, like I mentioned, I did Family Time for 91 episodes. I would bring up punch-up writers who were stand-up comedians because we would film without a live audience. And when you don't have a live audience, you still need that energy.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to tell a joke and then immediately go to the next joke. You need to leave room for the laugh tracks, right? So I would have comedians help me come up with new punchlines for every joke.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So if we do a scene and we're talking about noodles and this and that, boom, and I say something, these noodles are nasty, and everybody laughs. All right, we're going to do it again. When I say noodles are nasty, no one's going to laugh because they just heard that.
Yeah.
So I need something fresh for the next joke, for the next take, rather. Yeah. And we do take after take after take. So anyway, I got used to writing jokes and writing new punchlines and so forth and so on.
But so you weren't just acting, you were writing too.
I was writing too. I was a producer and a writer on that show. Yeah, exactly. So so that was my first voyeur into producing. And so what happened is I wouldn't really practice my jokes. I would just save them and then spring them on everybody so that they were fresh. So as I transitioned into stand-up, I realized that you need a team. I always think about Kevin Hart and the Red Cup Boys.
Yeah.
How he has his group of guys, and I'm sure they run jokes past each other, and that, he has a team that helps him. The last time that I saw Kevin Hart was before he really, really took off, and he was at, I believe it was the Comedy Store. And I saw him out in the lobby, and we were talking, and it was just all me and a couple of fellas, and we're all laughing, and he's getting ready to go on, and he just starts talking about things and bringing up certain things, and everything he was saying was just funny. We were all just laughing at it. He's like, all right, man, I'm about to get on stage. I said, all right, man, good luck. And then like 20 minutes later, he gets up, and everything he said on stage was all of the stuff that he was practicing with us before he got on.
Wow.
So he was rehearsing his jokes and running them by us to see if they were funny and if it'll work. And then he
in a regular conversation.
Yeah, in a regular conversation. And I said, oh, that's how you do it. So
that's different. I never heard a comedian doing that before.
Yeah, but I mean, trust me, they do it and you don't know. So if you see a comedian before he's about to go on and he's just shooting the breeze with you and talking and stuff, and he's gonna be funny. He's a comedian. Plus he's getting ready to go on stage. So he's working out stuff. Yeah. He's working jokes out on you. And I'm like, oh, that is brilliant. So my sister, who shout out to April Gooding, this was about, this was probably about 7 years ago. She tells us, because she wasn't in the business, she kind of did like a role here or there. I think she did Everybody Hates Chris and a couple other little sitcoms, whatever. And she said, I'm going to start doing stand-up. And me and my brother were terrified. Like, are you kidding me? Like, you're funny, but don't just jump into stand-up. She's like, no, trust me. Come support me. I have a show at the Improv. And we're like, oh, my God. So we were just nervous as hell. And we sat there the whole show, and everybody that got up was okay. And then she got up, and she killed it. We were like, oh, thank God. And she was so funny. And then after she got off, the next person up was Seinfeld. I was like, girl, you opened up for Seinfeld on your first time. Like, how the hell did you do that? And she told me she took a class, and in this class, they showed her how to build her set, her comedy set.
Wow.
So like the first week of the class, she would come up with 5 jokes. All right, I got a joke about ramen, I got a joke about hot sauce, noodles, something about eggs. You try every joke. The ones that work, you keep. And then the next week, you start with some new ones.
Okay.
Right? You try those new ones, and it's just process of elimination.
Yeah.
Until you build yourself a whole set.
Okay.
So, that's what I've been doing over this during the strike, which is funny. Mm-hmm. I had started, you heard about the Montgomery Brawl.
Yeah.
Right? That happened with the dude with the hat. He threw the hat in the air and everybody came fighting and jumped in the water and all that.
No, I didn't
You
hear
didn't hear
that.
about this Montgomery Brawl? Oh my God, it was brilliant. You guys haven't seen it. I don't know where you've been living, but you got to go Google the Montgomery Brawl, and it's like
Oh, I did see
the
it.
Montgomery Brawl. You kidding me? Yeah, that brother throws
remember.
his hat in the air like the Avengers, and all the black people
people
start swimming over and they
yep.
start fighting.
Yeah.
So I did this bit where I walked up. I remember he had on a white shirt and he had on some black shorts and a hat. So I did a bit where we started our scene, where we started our show. We had a white guy first. White guy opens up and he does his set and he's great. And he finishes, all right, you guys make some noise for Omar Gooding. And they're like, okay, all right. They haven't seen me do stand-up before, so they're curious. And I walk out and I whisper and I tell him, you got to go that way. And he goes, no, I want to walk this way. I go, no, bro, you gotta walk that way. He says, no, I want to go this way. I said, cut the music. And I take my hat and I throw it in the air. So when I threw it in the air, everybody fell out laughing. Yeah. He walks off the stage and then I start my routine. So once you hit him in the mouth off jump, it was easy. And then I talked about the narrator in the video and so forth and so on and all that stuff. So that was the beginning of my set. You know what I mean? And then I also have a show. So I do a show every other Wednesday called Funny AF Comedy Show.
Where's that at?
So right now it's at the Culture Lounge in downtown LA.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's every second Wednesday of the month. So today, the 29th, I don't know when this airs or if they're watching it live or however the case is, but yeah, come on down and check it out and you'll see now it's evolved to I have my host do his whole thing. We run through the whole show and then I just close it like a headliner. So I'll do like 10, 15 minutes at the end.
Nice.
And I'll just, I'll spend the night picking off jokes, doing the old Kevin Hart, getting some material, you know what I'm saying, some live, fresh material, because I'm also good at improv, and that's where it's at. And I also have a tour that I'm doing called the We Out Here comedy event, which started in San Antonio. That's the one that I told you about where I did the hat up in the air. We did 4 shows out there. We did another 4 shows in Atlanta. I just came back from Arkansas. We did some shows. On the 9th, we will be in, come on, brain, don't fail me now, not Midland. Is it Midland, Texas? Well, anyway, if you follow me online, Omar Gooding, you can check the link in my bio, and I have all my show dates.
And now, how are you juggling your comedy with your acting?
Yeah, I'm scatterbrained. I need it. I'm ADHD. I also do music. I dropped the album. I'll be writing. I'm producing a new film that we're filming out in Atlanta. I'm gonna be one of the leads in that. So it's just a schedule. It's just, I just put it in my calendar and try not to forget it. I'll do this. We'll finish this interview. I'll get a power nap. And then I'll get ready for my show tonight. Over the weekend, I got a one-day gig, and what is this? I think we're going to be in Glendale. Mm-hmm. And it's just, it's just one thing after another. For me, I've been doing it my whole life. 47 years old. Started at 9, so it's not difficult to try to figure out how to
with
juggle
that
everything.
whole journey. Was there any points where there was dips? Like dips or struggles?
Definitely. There was definitely struggles, just the lulls, and one, just staying relevant. A lot of people, especially if you start off as a child actor at 9 years old, you show a picture of me 9. People always say, you don't age. Yeah, right. Show a picture of me at 9, side by side with me at 47 with a couple gray hairs pop up. I may have shaved and I look young or youthful or whatever, but just reinventing yourself, staying current without pushing it or looking like you're trying to just keep up with everybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I found a way to just kind of stay in my lane. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of actors feel like they have to do certain roles. They have to, for lack of a better example, put on the dress, so to speak. You know what I mean? So, like, with me, I know which roles I can do. I know which lanes I can stay in. People say, well, damn, you do everything. You played a thug, I played a doctor, I played a dad, I played a son, I played a husband. Like, you can do just about anything. Just about. You want to know what an actor is? My brother, Cuba Gooding Jr. Now, that man can play any damn thing. That's why you can see him in Snow Dogs, Boat Trip, Radio, Men of Honor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That'll be 5 different things. I've tried just about everything, that I say, like something like radio.
Yeah.
Mentally challenging. I tried it.
Yeah.
But it wasn't in my wheelhouse.
Okay.
When I left the audition room, they were laughing. I'm like, this wasn't a comedy. Why are they giggling? And I knew to stay off that path. So I pretty much just know my lane.
Someone told me recently at a party this past weekend that acting requires, so if it's like a comedic rom-com, it's a certain style acting, and if it's there's certain styles of acting within each genre.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it's funny too when you say that, because when I started, I did sitcoms in the 90s, and it was more like vaudeville. It was more animated. Everything was super funny and doing these facials and holding this, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. But then as it evolved, I always give my hats off to John Singleton, because he helped me turn the corner in that regard. There was, we were talking about struggles initially in your question, and I always wanted to do movies. I always wanted to be taken serious in serious roles. But even though if I auditioned and I did well in the audition, they would look at my credits and my name, what I'm known for, and the producers would go, nah, we'll go with somebody that's, already known for drama. So once I did Baby Boy, I was then taken serious for serious roles, for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
So comedy, my comedy has evolved into just being more natural. You know what I mean? So back in the day, it was, like I said, it was more animated and comedic and, and Urkel and that type of thing.
Yeah.
And now it's just natural comedy. You say something and then you laugh as opposed to, here comes a joke.
Yeah.
So, there is that. There's the sitcom actor. There's plays, dramatic, where you have to project and act, and you kind of, you ham it up just a little bit more, but you also want to be natural. You know what I mean? There's dramas. I did a during the I bring up the pandemic a lot because it's a big deal. Recently, obviously, it changed everyone's lives. But during the pandemic, right before it started, I negotiated to do a film called AM Radio. Right, and every time I posted about it, people thought I had like an AM radio talk show. And I was like, no, it's a movie, right? About a recluse that started in FM radio, and he had a meltdown, and then, was given a second chance on AM radio. So it deals with mental health, being alone, feeling alone, and it's also a love story. And I really got to hone in on my serious acting. You know what I mean? So it's a drama for sure, but it's also funny because I can't do anything without making a joke here or there. And we scaled down the budget all the way so that we can just film it with a skeleton crew. A shout out to Ricky Burchell, who's a film director out of Tennessee, who is phenomenal. And he came up with this script that he had actually wrote for another actor, but during the pandemic, this and that happened. The guy couldn't do it, and I said, I'll do it. I'm ready to get out the house. It's been 2 months. So I flew out to Tennessee, and we filmed it in like 2 weeks. And it was brilliant, man. If you ever get a chance to watch it, check out AM Radio.
Where can we get it?
You can see it on, I'm sure it's on Tubi, it's on Amazon Prime. It's pretty much everywhere streaming.
Now, were you were also producing on it or just acting?
I was a producer as well on there. I helped with the editing. It was fun being.
You helped
on
with the editing.
The editing. I mean, they sent me.
Like you were actually editing.
I didn't push the button.
Okay.
I gave my input on it. Let's put it that way.
That's what I was trying to find.
So they sent me they would send me the first draft, and I said, "Can we change this?
Yeah.
Can we move this scene? Maybe you can, because there was something in there that I felt like it was just going to make people think about the movie in the wrong way, and we actually edited it out and replaced it with like a flashback, and it was fun. It was fun, and it was just fun to be on that side of it and giving my input after being in the business for so long. And that's what started me saying, I have to be on the production side of every film that I'm in, because sometimes, and this will happen a lot too, people call me the king of Tubi right now, because people will call me and say, yo, how much, what's your day rate? Or can I get you for a day in my film out here and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, sounds like an easy job. You fly out of town, first class accommodations, they give you what you want pay wise. You film for one day and then you're done. Yeah. But then when people go on Tubi, they say starring Omar Gooding. And they think I'm all through the film, and it's like 1 or 2 scenes that they shot in that one day.
Yeah.
And then I look at the film and the quality of the film, and I'm like, man, I should have pushed to be a producer on the film so that I can give my input. Okay. Let me see the final product before this thing is released to the world, so that I can help you out. Just the transitioning, maybe the music scoring, a little bit of everything, because there's so many things that go into making a successful film.
Wow. Wow. So where do you see yourself comedy-wise now that you're entering the you've been in the comedy arena, but like most comics, I think it takes like an average of like 10 years before they're really where they...
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. It's kind of like it depends on where it goes opportunity-wise, because there's so many things that you can do. I mean, I think everyone always, you want your special, your 1 hour special on Netflix. You say an hour, and I go, damn, an hour? You know how long 5 minutes is of stand-up comedy? That's a lot. When I went on stage... And it's funny because what I would always do, I started off as a presenter, right? Which was like something that I invented, I felt like. Because I walk out, I think about Russell Simmons when he would just come on at the end of Def Comedy Jam and say, thank y'all for coming, God bless, good night, right?
Yeah.
So that was going to be my role. But I started at the beginning of the show rather than at the end. Now, if anybody knows anything about stand-up comedy, the hardest part is the beginning.
Yeah.
Because people just getting there, ain't nobody full of liquor. They want to laugh, but they may not be warmed up just yet. Yeah. So to get a crowd ready to laugh is a tough spot. That takes a special skill in itself. So I was just jumping out trying that at first. And then I transitioned into hosting, which was also fun because it's the same idea where you welcome people there, you tell them what's going to go on, what
Make
to
a little
expect,
joke every once in a while.
joke every here and there, but it's easy. You kind of have a safety net because if you run out of material or if you feel a little stale, you just say, all right, let me bring your first comic up.
Yeah.
And then you jump off stage.
Yeah.
You know, and then in between comics, it's the same type of thing. How you guys feeling? That guy was funny, right? He talked about this. Yeah, that is crazy. All right, let's bring your next comic up.
Yeah.
You know, so I did that in San Antonio. And my man Charles Allen, I got to shout out Charles Allen, man, because he's really the reason why I do stand up now. He said, "Why don't you try just doing a set at the end of the show?" And my initial response was, "Hell no!" Like that's a lot of pressure.
And how long was the set that he was saying? Like 5
so
minutes?
he said, "Do a set," you know, because when I did the hosting, the first night I did the hosting, so I was up for maybe 6 minutes at the beginning, and then I do maybe a minute and a half in between each person, but it was new material. You know, I would come up and I'd look at my jokes that I wrote and I said, oh, I'm going to try this one. And I come up, hey, what's up? Anybody married? And I do a marriage joke.
Yeah.
Oh, that pandemic was crazy, right? Couldn't cough around nobody. Okay, but I'm going to try that joke. Try those jokes. And he said, just put them all together and do a set. So I said, well, I'll try it.
Yeah.
And boy, it was nerve-wracking. I haven't been nervous in about 30 years. But I got up there and I felt like it went fast. And I got off. I said, man, I only did 10 minutes. He said, bro, you was up there for 18 minutes. I was like, 18 minutes? He said, yeah, I got the footage. Watch it back. And then when I watched it back, I realized I was speaking fast. I was talking real quick. I'd say the punchline and go right to the next one. You know, and he's like, man, if you learn to breathe and calm down and space out your jokes in between, you probably got 30, 40 minutes of material. And I did. So moving forward, that's what I did. So we also, like I said, we're on tour now. So I have a couple of show dates coming up, and I'm doing the headline thing now. You know? So I'll come at the end. I got like 4 shows in Indiana coming up, which is also fun because I do adult comedy. But they said, can you do a clean show for us? No cursing. And I was like, ooh, I'll try. You know, so I've been working on that. And, you know, I have till March to kind of perfect my set. Like I said, I've got my show every 2 weeks. So I just work out new stuff and then you just keep building and building.
For comics, I feel like there's a lot of pressure right now because there's cancel culture. And I have a very... my positioning on it is that comics need to not be afraid of cancel culture,
right?
Because, you know, comedy is laughing at real life, right?
Absolutely.
And different perspectives on it. Mm-hmm. But once these comics start to get more filtered, I mean, can you really be funny? I've seen a couple specials that dropped that I thought were like okay at best. I mean, you know, obviously we have the icons like Martin Lawrence and Eddie Murphy. And we have so many good icons where you could watch that same tape 100 times and be like, this is amazing.
Right.
But then
imagine trying to watch it now. Especially like an old
I still think they're funny.
I mean, during this cancel culture.
Well,
we would think it's funny.
Yeah, we would think it's...
But people, if they released any of that old stuff now, people would be like, oh my God, they'd be outraged.
Yeah.
So it is a challenge. I remember I was on set, a harmless mistake. We were trying to rehearse our lines and there was a... That's funny. I've never told this story on filming because this happened about 6 months ago, and there was a person, female gender, that was. See, I'm still trying to figure out how to say this. She was the DP, which means she was setting up the shots and trying to figure out how to film us. But we were going over our scene. So we're going when the director says and action and we start our lines.
Yeah.
It needs to be this quiet. If we hear anything going on, it'll throw us off. And we'll be like, oh, guys, you guys be quiet on set, please, because we're trying to rehearse. And we shouldn't have to say that. There should be an AD saying, quiet, you guys got to be quiet. My actors are trying to rehearse their lines. It's hard enough to do this job and remember all their lines and their blocking and their placement and the lighting and all this and that. They got enough on their minds. Please just be quiet while they're rehearsing, right? So anyway, so we're going over our scene, and this woman just keeping out of ears. And I was just like, I couldn't stand it. I said, listen, you guys got to be quiet when we're rehearsing our lines. I know this isn't the most professional production, but it's good enough to where you guys need to respect your actors. And they said, well, you want to look good, then you need to let us talk this out. And I'm like, listen, I've been in this business for 30 years, and I've never been told that I need to be quiet or that I need to ignore you when I'm trying to do my, and then wound up going into a back and forth. And then another person joined in and said, well, you need to let her do da-da-da-da-da, or let them do blah, blah, blah. And then a friend of mine said, hey, young lady, listen, we're trying to, and she said, oh my God, that's not even the right pronoun. And then I said, oh, damn. Okay. I mean, it's respectful as for him to say young lady. That in our generation, that's about the nicest thing you can say to a female.
Yeah.
And not to know that I had to go the right pronoun, or I should have looked at this person and known that they didn't want to be referred to as a young lady, a woman, a her, or a she at all. Like, I have to filter all that in an instant while trying to do my job here. And I was just like, wow, we're on a slippery slope. And, you know, in comedy, I kind of feel like if you lead with that, you may be okay, you know.
Lead with what? The disclaimers?
Yeah, it's like, you know, for one, I think if you're going to get canceled or if you're going to get upset with something someone says, then it should be a someone that you believe should know better. So if you're in, I don't know, your 20s and under, that's about the end of the know-betters, in my opinion, maybe 30. Mm-hmm. But if you're 40, 50 years old, like if my mom walks in the room and says something crazy about somebody, everybody's going to be like, it's okay. She's, you know, she's 78?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She's 60. So they're like, all right, like, you know what she means. She didn't mean it like that. Or maybe she did. In her age, and you know, you'd be fine. Well, there's got to be some latitude given to people that grew up in a certain era. I mean, I was in trouble for saying the F word and not the U. Because I was referring to a man who had 2 women with him, and I was just angry in Vegas. Mm-hmm. So I didn't mean him to be a homosexual in any way.
Yeah.
I was just using that word because I was angry. We were liquored up, and I wanted him to try to do something.
Yeah.
You know, and then the next morning, my publicist was like, yeah, you're going to have to apologize, and people are outraged, da-da-da. And I said, what? I could see if I was talking to a person that was gay, you know, and I tried to slander them. That would be one thing. But then again, like I said, slippery slope.
We're definitely in a sensitive world. It just sucks because a lot of these actors, comics, or people in front of the camera it's already such a hard gig as it is to get in and to stabilize.
Right.
And then you have to now walk on eggshells because of society. I don't know where the pronouns meets disrespect. Like, you know, if I see, you know, someone and they look like a woman, I'm going to say female, but then like now off camera I'll be like, well, am I supposed to say female? Like, what? You know, it's weird, but we're definitely from a different era. Like, you know, we're from the era of, you know, tomato is a tomato.
Yeah, you know? I mean, it's definitely tricky. I mean, it's like talking about the N word and who can say it, and when you can say it, and how are you supposed to say it. The B word, same thing. 2 women get a bitch, girl, bitch, they're like, yeah, bitch. Oh shit, now I'm in trouble. You know.
Yeah.
So it's tough. I don't think it's you know. I think personally, I think comics would have it easier in the sense of like, okay, obviously he's just making a joke, so he might get let off the hook.
Yeah.
You know, but other people doing interviews and, you know, talk show hosts and people, and, you know, in your job, you know, it's, you know, good luck. You know, you should do a podcast. No, I shouldn't. I don't
I say things on here. I get calls from one of my cousins, shout outs to Heather. She listens to my podcast and I get a text pretty often from her like, I can't believe you said this on your show. And I'm like, I still can't believe you listen to this show.
But thank you for the comments.
Yeah, thanks. But yeah, I've said stuff on here. I don't care about being canceled at all. I like the hate attention. Nice. I don't know why I like it. I like it more than I like the nice attention.
I know. I remember you said something about that. Yeah. I'm sensitive in that regard, but I'm quick with the block button. You know, if you call me too much, text me too much, you'll be blocked. If you're online and you say something crazy, you know, I'll let that first comment go. But if I feed into it and start giving this person blocked, that block button is awesome.
You're hilarious.
I'll block somebody and drop a hat. Oh, yeah. And they'll be like, oh, leave those comments on there. That's how people know you're authentic. Authentic my ass. I don't want to read that. Blocked. Block. I won't report them, but I'll block them. And they'll be like, I can't find this dude. Yeah, that's probably because you're blocked. I blocked friends. I blocked my mama once. Okay.
I did block one fan from our show because he was disrespecting one of the guests on my show. He was like in my DMs, in the Eating While Broke DMs, on like our YouTube page, like any form of contact to me, and he was like talking so derogatory about this guest, and I was like, had he actually listened to the full episode, he actually would have had more respect for her.
Right.
But like, you know, for whatever reason, but he was like stalker level, and I ended up reaching out to the guest and was like, yo, I think there's something unsafe here, you know? And she was like, oh, yeah, I put a restraining order on him. Can you keep all those records? I was like, he knew, like, everyone in her camp. And I was like, this guy, he's, like, after Charlemagne. And I was like, yo. So I let the Black Effect know, like, you know what? There's a problem.
People have a lot of time on their hands. It's crazy. And
just, you can see the mental health issues.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Because they be really invested. You be like, dude.
Like, bro,
they don't really know you.
Yeah.
You don't know them.
Right,
you know, you're really losing sleep over
you
here.
know, it's funny too. You know, and I work with a comedian. Shout out to damn, can I shout him out? I'm about to give this story. I won't. But he was being heckled by this person. It's funny. Everyone at the show, and it's funny. It was an all black room. You know, I do mostly these black shows, and but there was, you know, I have white fans, and a couple white fans showed up, and they were just completely drunk. Like he was just 3 sheets to the wind. He was completely a mess. And every time we said, "Yeah, Omar Gooding's come up," he just go, "I love him," and he's like right up front. So every comic was kind of being bothered by him, but the more seasoned comics knew to just ignore him.
Yeah.
Maybe give him a okay, guy, all right, and then relax. But this one comic got up there, and he was like, you know, close to our headliner. And he has a whole routine, and it's a rhythm, and it's all about, you know, the first joke, and it all kind of snowballs from there. And this guy started yelling, and he just started engaging with the guy. Now it just ruined his whole set because he's going back and forth. And then somebody else came to his defense, actually, believe it or not, and was like, hey, he's not the only white guy here, so who you mean by white people? And he's like, oh, my God, somebody da-da-da. And then he was just going back and forth with these people. I had to yell at him like, bro, finish your set. We love you. Ignore them. You know, and then when he got off, I had to tell him, bro, you can't engage with them. You know, and it's kind of the same thing with these trolls online. As soon as you give them a little life, now they're like, got it. They're just seeking attention. That's all they want.
They need it.
And then you see it. I've made a comment or I've made a post, and then somebody will comment positive, and then someone will comment negative. And now these two people are going at it on my post. Yeah. And I'm like, I got to block both of these people? Like, I don't want to hear any of this conversation. Can y'all take that somewhere else or go to her page or his page or whatever the case is?
Sometimes,
but yeah, it gets crazy.
I am curious before we close out, your situation with April, your sister.
Yeah.
She started going on her comedy journey. Like, what does your relationship with her look like in regards to you now joining comedy?
Yeah. It's awesome. I mean, she's kind of taken a step back too, because she had she had a day job. You know, a day job? Because she wasn't a full-time actress. She'd do it here and there. And she worked actually at an airline. And then there was an incident towards the end that was very traumatic for her. She was actually attacked leaving the airport. And she's never like fully recovered from that. So it's like, you know, with the pandemic and then kind of being pushed. So she's taken a step all the way back. I actually threw, which actually got me really jump-started my stand-up comedy career, is that I threw her a party at the beginning of the year because she said she wanted to just be around it again and she just wanted to laugh. I said, are you going to go up? She's like, oh, no, I'm not ready for that yet. But I'll come and have a good time. And I brought 5 or 6 comics out. Shout out to comedian Warren V and a couple of his friends. And we had a terrific show because her birthday is January 2nd, and so is my brother's because I told you they're born
same day,
exactly day a year apart. So, you know, it was funny. I always throw a party for her and be like, yeah, Cuba Gooding Jr. is coming. Just to back
Yeah.
You know, and he's like, I don't go to parties. But anyway, so she still hasn't got back off, you know, she hasn't got back off the saddle yet. I keep trying to edge her on, but she's very supportive. I'll come and see, you know, she's come to everyone. Well, not everyone. She's come to a bunch of my shows, and then we'll talk about it afterwards.
Now, all 3 of you siblings are very close.
Oh, for sure.
I would assume, right?
Yeah.
And then have any of you guys hit a low pocket and then you had to pull one out?
Yeah.
I mean, but obviously your sister went through that one.
Yeah,
what about your brother?
That's happened. My brother's more guarded, you know, so all the things that happened with him, he kind of, you know, we're like, "Are you good? I'm good, man. I'll be all right." All right. I was like, "Bro, I'm telling you, we upset here. We ready to, you know, rush, you know, go crazy." He's like, "No, everybody be cool. I'm gonna trust the system." And I said, "All right, man."
All right.
You know, and he's a different breed than me. I'll tell you right now, they don't come after Omar, because if I got anybody I can call, I would be like, yes. You want us to do something? Yes. Meet me outside. Yes, help. I need help. I'm not going to do this by myself.
I'm more like your brother. I'm like, let's wait until the last final moment before I push that red button.
Yeah, I'm quick. I'm like I told you, I'm quick
You're
to block.
hilarious.
I block. You need something? Yes. Meet me over here. I'm outside. The address is 22597. But that's happened. I mean, I've had emotional times, and I had to call them both, and we all showed up, and then went and hung out and been like, yeah, man, there's this going on and that going on, and you know, and especially since I started having kids late in life. You know, I started at 40. My brother had already had 2 or 3 kids, so I'd love to call him up, just pick his brain about women, and children, and kids, and just being that family man type of thing. So, you know, I've had my father who wasn't around, and my brother who traveled a whole lot because he was so successful when he had his kids. So then I took that as like what not to do, but also how to stay engaged and then still try to stay relevant. So it's tough to juggle it all. But, you know, there's opportunities that I've definitely kind of said, nah, I don't want to do that because I had to keep me away from my kids for too long. Like when I had to do this thing in Chicago, it was brutal. Now, I brought my kids out for like a month, and one of them got really sick, and we had to go in the hospital, and it was just a lot.
Yeah.
It was so much. So, the strike was, it was important because there's a lot of things that needed to be addressed. I know we're closing, but I can go on and on about that strike. It's in my comedy set, so I'll wait and talk about it then. But if the Chicago, if we don't get a season 2, I'll be fine with that because it was a lot. It was a lot, but I did love the culture and I did love being out there. But my kids are too young; they need daddy.
And then, what did you do to avoid the plague that happens with young talent?
Yeah, that one.
Or do you think your mom played a role too?
My mom definitely played a huge role. I mean, I have a praying mama. I watched her pray things into existence, from poverty, from a better job for herself to an apartment for us, from living in a car to living in an apartment. She prayed me, you're going to get a series one day. That happened. When I say pray, she didn't just say one prayer and then, it just happened. No, every single day it was a mantra. She would pray, goodbye this, hello this. And we would sing it driving in the car over and over again until these things happened. And it was just, I know that God is real and I've seen his power work. So it's faith first and foremost, and then having people around you that want the best for you, as opposed to that are just leeching off you or just happy that you're paying the rent. You know what I mean? I had people saying, nah, bro, we don't need to do that. I'm like, what, are you sure? Like, yeah. I do music too, and I have a line where I say I'm tired of watching peers raising peers. But that happens.
Wow, that's such a deep statement. Peers raising peers.
Yeah, I mean, because
it's true.
It is. It happens all the time, And I remember my father. I loved him to death, but he said something to me, and most of the time I'd be like, yes, absolutely. But I got in trouble. I talked about having guns and whatnot. And I remember he's like, yeah, you got one of those. You got to give me that gun, bro. And I was like, not a chance. If anything, I'll get rid of it, but that's not going to happen. And my friend was there, and he just leans over and said, nah, give it to him. And that was when I went, seriously? All right, cool. And I gave it to him. And it's like, I'm not a follower by any means. I've always been a leader in every aspect of my life. And that was the one time that I remember. And clearly to this day, I remember this. My friend said it, and I went, oh, all right, fine. And then he kind of was like, yeah, man, we can get another one. So
Wow.
I don't know how deep it was, but it's still, okay, here, Dad. And I mean, he was like, yeah, okay, my son's listening. But I was like, yeah, it's only because my friend said it. Because initially, I was just going to fight him on it and be like, yo, man, I got this. I'll figure it out on my own, And it's tough, especially raising kids now. And I remember I had a conversation with my friend, with a guy that I just met when I was out in Chicago. And he said how his son is very successful, is a very successful athlete, gifted athlete, but he's having problems following the rules. He loves girls too much, and he's getting in trouble with this and trouble with that. And he's trying to tell his son things, but what he does is he appeals to his son's friends. And he takes them all out here, treats them to this, talks to them directly because he knows they'll have a bigger influence.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he has a real good relationship with his son's friends, and they're helping him stay on the right path. And I thought that was very deep.
Someone once told me that too. They said, a part of raising a kid is who their friends are, like being mindful of who their friends are. I know growing up, my mom used to always be like, show me your friends and I'll tell you who you are. And that was her big thing.
That's
like,
deep.
Every time she was around us, like, let me see what your friends are looking like. That's
it's funny. My mom used to always say that too. Where'd you learn that from? Who taught you that? Where'd you get that from? And I'd be like, what? Nobody. I probably saw it on this and that. And I always would get offended, as like a young man. Like, I don't follow nobody. Everybody says, Omar, what are we doing today? Or where we're going? Or what's the next move? They come to me. I don't follow nobody. But now that I have sons, I got young boys, I see when my son comes home with a new, I want to hear this song. Where'd you hear that? Oh, Bobby said this. He was singing it all day. Oh, Bobby did it. Who the heck is Bobby? I was like, now I got to talk to their parents because they're now raising my son because he's coming up with new stuff and new things. He meets his cousin and he teaches him how to armpit fart or something like that.
Oh, my gosh.
Now he's doing this at the table. I'm like, look, boy, you about to find out. You know what I mean? So I'm like, who is this? And his cousin taught him that. Now I want to talk to their parent like, yo, for real? So, they like, let's all have a play date. I'm like, I don't know about all this play date stuff.
Yeah.
It's cool when you want to go hang out or whatever or meet some people and, they see them at school and want to hang out. But you got to be involved. You definitely can't leave it in front of no iPad no more.
No.
That's over with. I thought it was cute when they can just, as soon as they learn how to scroll on their own, it's like, all right, okay, let me see what we're watching. No headphones. No, I'm listening in. And what is that now? Oh, an ad came on. 'Cause they're real sneaky with these ads.
Yeah.
I watch it now when I'm scrolling all of a sudden. How did I get down this rabbit hole? I'm not following none of these people, but I've seen all these reels of stuff that I didn't really necessarily want to know about.
Yeah.
Now I done found out about all type of things going on. I'm depressed. I'm nervous. I'm scared about all type of shit because I done.
I try hard to stay off the socials as much as possible.
Oh, it's tough.
It's terrible. I wish we could go back to like my era where we just had AIM.
Yeah, hey, right. No,
hey, Johnny,
but
from
it's
school?
business. It's business. And my wife be like, damn, you on the phone? Like, no, you're scrolling memes and then sending me something that you found out about the spoons and the forks and all this craziness that you can't. No. I'm actually, it's business. Every time I post, and then I go on my DM, it's a new job opportunity.
Wow.
So I'm talking every time. Like, oh man, you looking good. So how much is you? Hey, can I get you in there? I say, yep. Call my agent and he'll set it up. Like I'm talking every single time. So I have to check on it.
Wow.
You know what I mean? That's why I'll be blocking.
I need to get my DMs popping.
Get
I know
your
we have
DMs
well, we get a lot of requests for talent from people trying to pitch
great.
talent on the show. But
Right.
I use a application, so I don't have to do it manually from my phone.
Smart.
Like literally, it's like a calendar. It's called Later, and we just put all our socials in a calendar, and it drops it like in advance. So like whether I touch my phone or not, something's gonna drop today.
Oh,
so it looks like, and it's all scheduled, and then they'll like set parameters like best time of day to post or whatever.
Nice.
Between that and ChatGPT, we do the whole
Y'all good.
caption and drop or whatever, and then we have a clip team that just generates clips.
Oh yeah, gotta get the
So yeah, so
yes, I haven't. Are you on TikTok?
Yeah,
You went there yet? I tried it. I said, wow, this is a lot. You have to be engaged constantly, but you get way more traffic than Instagram.
Well,
like I'll go live on Instagram and it'll be like 100 people. I go live on IG I got about 300,000 on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
I go on TikTok, I got maybe 1,500.
Yeah.
But then I go live and it's like 1,500 people are watching you right now. I'm like,
I didn't even know TikTok had a live feature.
they have a live.
But I will say
It's
that
crazy
TikTok does
active.
give a good interaction. Like I'll go on TikTok and it'll be like, compared to Instagram, a video will probably get like 100,000 or 80,000 views, in an Instagram
and they
it'll
pay
be
you.
like 10,000.
I thought it was a joke. I was like, what are you talking about? I went
Oh,
on live.
I need a.
I'm telling you, I went on live a couple times, and then when you're on live, they'll put the little hat on you and the glasses while you're talking. I'm like, what is this? And then it's over. And it's like, you've made $50. I'm like, what do you mean I made $50?
Get
And I'll look on. Every time they put one of those hats, they buy it. It's called a badge, I believe.
Okay.
And they'll buy a badge. I'm like, oh, I want to interact with him. I'll throw a hat. And I'll be like, oh, thanks for the hat. Such and such, dot, whatever. And
On TikTok? Oh, shoot.
On TikTok, you're live.
I'm going to try and do that.
I'm telling you, it's crazy. I'm like, look at where this little $50 come from. These people just keep tacking on $1 here, $1 there. It's crazy. It adds up. I said, well, that's smart. I don't know if people know about that.
What would be your main piece of advice for the longevity you've had in your career, in addition to the pivots, to people trying to get into your position?
Yeah. The longevity part for me is it's called compromise, not compromising. Don't feeling that you have one shot and you have to compromise either your beliefs or your sexuality or your religion or whatever the case is and go all in on like one role. Because I've seen people take the wrong role and then you never hear from them again. I've seen people be, their career was going pretty well and then they said, I got to do this, and then that was it for them. Or they got discouraged because of the backlash they took for that role. You got to be careful too. You don't feel that you have to do something, and then don't do something that you're not going to be able to live with. Like I'll be honest, I'll take like the hero role or the macho role or the role that I know I'm gonna be at the bar and someone's gonna say, hey man, you that dude that I saw in this such and such role? I said, yeah, I was that one. And if it's something negative that I'm not gonna be able to respond to, then I'm not taking that role.
Yeah.
I have a fan base, and they're always proud of what I do. And then they say, well, every actor does this and every actor eventually blah, blah, blah. Denzel Washington is my favorite actor of all time next to my brother, and I've never seen him let me down once. Yeah. I haven't seen him come up anything. I said, damn, Denzel. You see his name, you're going to enjoy yourself. That's it. You know what I mean? So
I didn't think Fences was that great.
You know what? I thought it was a lot. It was impressive. You memorized all that. Like, that shit was impressive to me. That's all I was doing as an actor. I was just watching him going, look at this man. I said, he didn't take a breath. They didn't cut nowhere. I could tell he memorized all that. And that in itself, to me, is a lot. That's a big deal for me. Then the acting, you kind of get, what you're going to get. He's already done everything. So it's just one of those like, well, it's going to be what it be. But I'm just talking about the choices. There's nothing that's like made me go, oh, now I can't look at him ever again. I don't like him.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Nothing is wrong. So anyway,
that's how I feel about Diddy right now. I mean, I used to look up. Well, let me just tell you something. I used to look up to Diddy. I was like, when I was in high school, you know. But then as I got into the industry, I would hear so many bad rumors about him. But now it's just like I can't even believe how much, as a young person, I looked up to this dude, and to hear like, and I 100% believe everything. I'm sorry, dude.
What about all the Will Smith stuff that's come pouring out now? And we've heard about that for years. And
let me tell you, I believe the Will Smith stuff too.
Yeah, and then
I don't know about you. Look, what I've learned is with every story, there is a true underline.
Right.
Especially in the entertainment business.
Yeah, it's just how far were those believing it take you? As far as, are you still going to watch the movies? Like, okay, this movie comes on, now you're not going to watch it again? Yeah, right. This song is on, you're going to tell them turn it off? No. I mean, you know, I'm sure they'll stop playing R. Kelly, but if I'm out somewhere and it comes on, I'm going to still nod my head. I'm not going to be like, get out of here.
R. Kelly's situation is kind of it sounds terrible what I'm about to say. Jesus. I'll get a call later about this.
Call
on. But R. Kelly, I feel like, is a two-edged sword because he came from abuse. He came from a lot of, you know, abuse, like sexual abuse. Right. So I definitely feel terrible for the victims, but I also feel like that is definitely like that. It was both victims.
Well,
you know what I'm saying? Like R. Kelly, you know, everyone's a victim.
Well,
in that
I get
case.
it, but it's like a matter of knowing right from wrong.
Well, I think the people around you.
If you say he was just oblivious to it.
No. He definitely knew it was wrong. But like when you have mentally normal people,
right, and
they're like co-signing and condoning and playing a role, then it's like, no, I don't care how much someone pays you. You know it's wrong, right?
Right.
And so there was a person like that definitely had a room full of people that were looking the other way.
Yeah.
But I don't give nobody a pass though.
I'd probably get backlash for saying the fact that I just don't think it was necessary for a man that could get pretty much any woman. You can get a woman that looks young. Go to Thailand. They got these little kids. They look like little girls, boy. To actually go there, you know, when it wasn't necessary, that's where I have an issue with. I got 2 sons. I can imagine if I had a daughter, I'd probably be trying to go to jail just to be next to him for a minute. Well,
there's a lot of parents that play a role in a lot of the kids' demise. Like, people approach me all the time about my daughter getting into entertainment, and I'm absolutely against it. And my main reason is the industry doesn't necessarily always support those parents that are guard dogs. Right. Like, you know, like some of those parents that are guard dogs get blacklisted for being guard dogs.
I have a lot to say about that, too. Then, I talk to women, especially in the industry, and I think it's a matter of common sense and your upbringing. Some people are far more susceptible to peer pressure than others. I mean, I guess that goes without saying. For me, it always seemed obvious. It seemed easy. I'm in these rooms, and they're passing around the coke, and they're doing this, and they're doing that. And I'm like, look, I'll smoke some weed, I'll drink some drink, and I'll wake up the next day and have black spots. Like, I don't remember what happened the rest of the night. I don't need to do anything the hell else.
Yeah.
When they're passing it around, I'll be like, no, I'm good. They're not going to be like, get out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? For young females, they invite you where? They invite you to the hotel. All right, go to the lobby, but don't go up to the hotel room. There's a point where you know, don't go up to the room and then tell me something crazy happened. You didn't know something crazy was gonna happen in the room.
I agree with you, but I will say when I first moved here from New York, there was a couple incidents where I and my sister both put ourselves in positions where, I mean, had us not had really solid, good street smarts, I would say we would have definitely been compromised.
Copy that.
But yeah, there was some dudes, and it's usually, to be honest, from my experience, it wasn't dudes that were actually in the industry. They were like the fake industry dudes, like the outskirt dudes. Those are the most dangerous. You know, the ones that walk up to you in the mall and they're like, be a model, and it's like, no, no, thank you. You know, the ones that are like, come meet me here. But I will say, like, even in the open, like, I've seen dudes with power that were in the industry cross the line where I remember I was as good as done. I went to my uncle like, I'm good. Right. Like, I'm good. Like, this dude touched my leg and was married. And I just remember being scared to death, you know, like, oh my God, like this is terrible. And I started making rules, but even with men in general, I personally don't do dinner dates. I only do breakfast and lunch dates. I don't want to hear and guys will literally, like, if they hear breakfast and lunch, will be like, I'm good.
Right.
And I'll be
You
like,
already know.
that's cool.
Right,
you know
right,
what I'm
right,
saying?
right.
We both on the same page.
Right, right.
You know what I'm saying? But I'm not
right.
trying to walk into no setup or
Yeah.
manipulation or any misconfusion or whatever.
It's tough.
But we're on a clock. So anyways, how can our fans keep up with you, Omar?
Keep up with me. Easiest way to find me is Instagram at Omar Gooding. Period. I don't hide it. TikTok, I threw my middle name in there, Omar Miles Gooding. Yes, my initials are OMG. And that's the easiest way to find me, man.
And
yes,
it's Miles with a Y or I?
With an I. With an I. Yes. I named my oldest son Omar Jr. Because believe it or not, when I'm out and people say, oh, Cuba Gooding Jr.'s brother. Yeah, so his name is Omar Gooding Jr. No, that's not how it works. That's not how juniors work, people. The Omar Gooding Jr. is my son, and he's 7. He will be 7. And then my youngest son is named Miles. So I gave him my second. They're like, oh, you just hogged on a name. Listen, my wife's name is Mia, and I was trying to think of names for a boy. We went Michael, Miles. Oh, how about Miles?
So you only have sons?
I have 2 boys. Yeah. That's
okay.
why, it's that's where we're at with it, and in this culture, I don't know, that's it's tough. You want them just to be boys and be, and I'm a manly man, alpha male. I'm gonna start a culture like, can I be a man, please? Is it okay for me to just be a man? I'm not, hating on any other gender or race or community or whatever the case. I'm just saying I'm a man and I'm raising men, so that's that. Now, if something happens down the line that I have no control over, and we'll have that conversation and we'll cross that road when we need to. Yeah. But as far as what I'm raising, I know how I was raised, so. If that's what's in me, I figure that should be in them, and we'll go from there. Because my oldest, he cries a lot. It's still, he's very sensitive.
I think it's good. That's
very sensitive. I know my father said that to my wife. He said, I was worried about him when we were younger, but he all man now. I said, all right, he pulled out of that. He pulled up quick. But that's where you can find me. I got a lot on the plate. I got music, I got comedy shows, I got some movies I'm doing. Maybe I even signed on to do a play in May.
We'll be keeping up with you on your socials, and I will retire this dish.
Yeah, please don't.
Here.
Yeah, please don't. Nobody try this at home, because first of all, we shouldn't even have the styrofoam in the microwave as we led with.
You
tried to put it in tap water. I said, no,
I'm gonna save y'all fans from yourselves, okay? Don't do the egg in the cup of noodles unless you're absolutely
It's
desperate.
good for a cleanse, because I feel like I'm not going to eat nothing for next week.
All right. Peace out, guys. Peace.